Have you ever felt like your mind is drowning in thoughts you can't control, and your heart is heavy with emotions you can't explain? That feeling when the world keeps moving faster, but you're stuck in a storm you didn't choose. You wake up already tired, your chest feels tight, and even the simplest tasks feel like climbing a mountain. It's as if life has turned into a race you never signed up for, and every step forward feels heavier than the last. You're not alone. Every single human being reaches a point where the noise inside is louder than the world outside. And it's in those moments we begin to lose ourselves. But here's what most people don't realize. Feeling overwhelmed doesn't mean you're broken. It means you've been carrying more than your mind and soul were designed to hold without rest. Overwhelm is your mind's way of sounding the alarm. It's your inner self screaming for you to pause, to breathe, to reclaim your balance. It's not weakness, it's a signal. A call to step back from the chaos and remember that you are more than the problems you face. Right now, your brain might be stuck in survival mode, scanning for threats, preparing for battles that may never come. That's why everything feels urgent, why your thoughts race, why peace seems impossible. But it doesn't have to stay that way. You have the power to reset. You have the ability to calm the storm. And the moment you choose to begin, your entire reality can shift. Imagine your life without that constant tightness in your chest. Imagine waking up with a mind that feels clear, focused, and free. Imagine being able to face challenges without losing your sense of calm, no matter how much pressure the world tries to put on you. That's not just a dream, it's the natural state you can return to when you learn how to reset your mind and soul. Because peace isn't something you have to chase, it's something you create from the inside out. This is why you must stay with me. In the next few minutes. You will understand how to stop being consumed by the noise. You will learn how to quiet your mind without running away from life. You will discover that even in the darkest seasons, you can create a light so steady that no storm can put it out. The truth is, your circumstances don't have to change for you to feel peace. What has to change is your inner state. And when that changes, everything changes. So don't let this moment pass. Don't convince yourself that you're too busy or too tired to listen. Because the steps you take from here could be the ones that lift you out of the heaviness you've been carrying for far too long. Stay with me, and I will show you how to breathe again, not just with your lungs, but with your soul. Peace begins the moment you decide to stop feeding the noise inside. That choice is yours, even if the world outside refuses to slow down. The mind will always search for something to think about, and if you don't guide it, it will drown you in distractions, fears, and imagined disasters. You must reclaim control over where your attention lives. Close your eyes for a moment and picture a calm space. Feel your breath slow. Allow the tension in your shoulders to drop, even if only slightly. This is not weakness, this is strength. The ability to pause in the middle of chaos is a power that most never learn to master. When you create silence, even for a few moments, you send a message to your body that it is safe. Your heart rate begins to steady. Your breathing deepens. The fog that's been covering your thoughts starts to lift. It doesn't take hours, it takes intention. You don't need to wait for the perfect environment. Peace is not hiding somewhere out there, it's waiting for you to unlock it from within. This silence is where your mind begins to heal and your soul begins to breathe again. Every time you allow yourself to stop and listen, you begin to hear something you've forgotten, the voice inside you that knows what you need. That voice has been buried under the noise of deadlines, obligations, and other people's expectations. But it's still there, and when you give it space, it speaks with clarity. It reminds you of your worth. It tells you that you are not defined by the rush, the chaos, or the opinions of those who don't understand your battles. The world will try to convince you that constant motion is the only way forward. But the truth is, without stillness, movement becomes meaningless. You can run for years and still feel lost if you never pause to make sure you're going in the right direction. The moment you slow down and quiet your mind, you give yourself the gift of perspective. You see things differently. Problems that seemed impossible shrink into challenges you can face. Decisions that felt overwhelming start to make sense. This silence is not empty. It is full of answers. It is full of the energy you need to keep going without burning out. The more you choose it, the more natural it becomes. And when you master this, the storms around you will no longer dictate the storms within you. You will begin to move through life with a steady calm that nothing can shake. Right now, you have that choice. You can let your mind keep racing until it exhausts you, or you can stop, breathe, and take back control. Peace will never chase you. You must create it. And when you do, you'll realize it was never far away. It was always here, waiting for you to listen. The weight you carry is not always made of what you can see or touch. Sometimes it is made of memories you replay over and over, mistakes you refuse to forgive yourself for, and outcomes you try to control but never can. These invisible burdens are often heavier than anything physical, and yet you keep holding on as if letting go would mean losing a part of yourself. But holding on to what you cannot change does not make you strong. It drains your strength, steals your energy, and clouds your clarity. Letting go is not giving up. It is choosing freedom over bondage. Every moment you spend clinging to what is beyond your control is a moment you lose from building the life you truly want. The past will not rewrite itself, no matter how many times you revisit it. The future will not obey your demands, no matter how tightly you try to grip it. The only place you can act, decide, and change is here, in this very moment. This is where your power lives. This is where your life happens. Releasing the weight does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop letting what you cannot change decide how you feel today. It means you stop giving your peace away to situations that will never repay you. When you unclench your grip on the uncontrollable, your mind begins to relax. Your thoughts open to new possibilities. You begin to see solutions where there once were only problems. This release creates space for hope, for healing, for energy that can be used toward what actually matters. Ask yourself what you are still holding that is holding you back. Is it the words someone once said that made you doubt yourself? Is it the outcome you wanted so badly but never came? Is it the image of the person you thought you should be by now? Whatever it is, acknowledge it, feel the weight of it, and then decide to set it down. The act may feel unnatural at first because pain has a way of convincing us that it belongs to us, but it doesn't. You are not your mistakes. You are not your disappointments. You are not the sum of everything that went wrong. The moment you let go, even a little, you will notice a shift. Breathing will feel easier. Your body will feel lighter. Your mind will feel clearer. And you will realize that letting go is not the end. It is the beginning. It is the doorway to a life where your energy is no longer wasted on battles you were never meant to fight. You will walk through that doorway stronger, calmer, and more focused. And for the first time in a long time, you will feel free. When the noise fades and the weight begins to lift, what remains is a quiet space where you can finally hear yourself. In that space, you are faced with a choice, to drift aimlessly or to reconnect with the compass inside you that has always known the way. Overwhelm often disconnects you from what truly matters, pulling your attention to everything urgent, but rarely to what is important. You become so consumed with putting out fires that you forget why you started the journey in the first place. The truth is, peace and clarity come when you return to your deepest values, the principles that anchor you when life feels unsteady. Your inner compass is not loud. It does not shout. It whispers. And if you are too busy, too distracted, or too lost in the noise, you will miss it entirely. But when you listen, it points you toward the actions and decisions that align with your true self. It guides you away from what drains you and toward what fills you. It reminds you that your worth is not measured by how much you do, but by whether the things you do honor your purpose. Ask yourself in the quiet moments what truly matters right now. Not in 10 years, not in some imagined future, but in this season of your life. What would make you feel proud if you invested your time, your heart, and your energy into it? The answer will not come from outside. It will rise from within. And when you find it, hold on to it with both hands. Let it guide your choices. Let it be the filter through which you decide what deserves your attention and what does not. When you act from this place of clarity, you stop scattering your energy in 100 directions. You stop living in reaction to everything that happens and start living with intention. The chaos may still exist around you, but it will no longer have the power to pull you away from your path. Every step you take in alignment with your values strengthens your confidence. Every decision made with your compass in mind deepens your peace. Without this connection, even success will feel empty, and even progress will feel exhausting. But with it, you can face challenges without losing your center. You can endure storms without forgetting where you are going. You can say no without guilt and yes without fear. This is the essence of living from your truth. Not chasing every opportunity, but choosing the ones that align with who you are and who you are becoming. When you live guided by your inner compass, you no longer search for peace as if it is something far away. You carry it with you. It becomes a part of your every step, a steady presence that no external force can take from you. And in that presence, life finally feels whole again. Once you realign with what truly matters, the next step is to give your soul the nourishment it has been craving. You cannot expect your mind to be clear and your heart to be steady if you constantly run on empty. Renewal is not a luxury you fit in when there's time. It is the foundation that allows you to show up as your best self in every part of life. Too often you pour energy into obligations, responsibilities, and people, but leave nothing for the part of you that needs care the most. This neglect is why you feel drained even when you've accomplished everything on your list. Renewal begins with small, intentional acts that restore your spirit. It can be as simple as starting the day with a few moments of gratitude, letting the first thoughts in your mind be about what is good instead of what is missing. It can be stepping outside to feel the air on your skin and remembering that the world is bigger than the problems in your head. It can be reading something that uplifts your thoughts even for a few minutes, so your mind is reminded of possibility instead of limitation. These are not distractions. These are the lifelines that keep your soul from collapsing under the weight of life. When you consistently give yourself moments of renewal, you rewire your mind toward resilience. The brain learns to associate life not only with stress and urgency, but with joy, calm, and meaning. You start to see that your worth is not tied to constant output, but to the quality of the energy you bring into each day. And the more you protect that energy, the more effective, creative, and present you become. It is not selfish to guard this renewal, it is essential. The world will take as much from you as you allow, and if you don't set the boundaries to protect your peace, no one will do it for you. This is why you must treat the care of your soul as non-negotiable. When you fill yourself up, you have more to give, not less. You move from surviving to thriving. You handle challenges with a steady hand instead of a trembling one. You begin to lead your life instead of being dragged by it. Every act of renewal is a statement to yourself that you matter. It is proof that you are committed to living, not just existing. And over time, these small choices build a reservoir of inner strength that no crisis can fully drain. The world may still demand endlessly, but you will meet it from a place of fullness instead of emptiness. Your soul will no longer be at the mercy of chaos. It will be anchored in the quiet power you create daily. And from that place you will find a peace that cannot be taken from you. Peace is not only built in the big, life-changing decisions. It is shaped in the smallest choices you make throughout the day. The mind is trained not by rare, grand moments, but by repeated, consistent experiences that slowly rewrite how you feel, think, and respond. These micro moments hold more power than most people realize. A single deep breath before reacting. A pause to notice the warmth of sunlight on your skin. A few seconds spent truly tasting your food instead of rushing through it. These simple acts are not insignificant. They are resets for your nervous system, reminders to your body and mind that you are safe, present, and in control. Every time you choose to anchor yourself in a small moment of calm, you interrupt the cycle of stress. You teach your brain that it doesn't need to stay in constant fight or flight mode. Over time, these moments accumulate, creating a natural buffer between you and life's chaos. You begin to respond to challenges instead of reacting to them. You approach difficulties with a clear head instead of a clouded one. The beauty of micro moments is that they are always available. You don't have to wait for the right environment, the perfect timing, or a rare break in your schedule. You can create them anywhere, standing in a crowded place, sitting at your desk, or even in the middle of a conversation. They require no permission and no special tools, only awareness and intention. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to slip into these moments without effort, as naturally as taking a breath. These moments are not escapes from reality. They are ways to strengthen your ability to face it. They are reminders that peace is not the absence of difficulty, but the ability to remain grounded within it. Just as a muscle grows stronger with repeated exercise, your capacity for calm expands with every small reset you give yourself. Eventually, your mind begins to default to steadiness rather than tension, and your body learns that it does not have to brace for impact at every turn. The smallest moments can have the biggest impact because they are constant. They weave peace into the fabric of your day instead of leaving it as something you seek only when life becomes unbearable. This is how you transform your internal state, not in a sudden leap, but in countless gentle steps that become part of who you are. When you master the power of micro moments, you no longer wait for peace to find you. You create it over and over until it becomes your normal way of living. And in that steady rhythm, you will find a strength that cannot be shaken, no matter how loud the world becomes. True peace is sustained when you learn to release what no longer belongs to you. The mind becomes heavy when it clings to things it cannot control. Past mistakes, unkind words, lost opportunities, unfair situations. These weights pull you away from the present moment and trap you in cycles of tension that steal your clarity. Carrying them feels normal at first because you have grown used to the burden. But deep down, you know it is costing you the energy and focus you need for what truly matters. Letting go is not weakness. It is not about ignoring reality or pretending the pain never happened. It is about choosing not to let the past dictate the quality of your present. Releasing begins with acceptance. You cannot change what has already unfolded, but you can decide how much power you allow it to have over you. This choice is where freedom starts. Every time you replay an old hurt, you reopen the wound. Every time you hold on to resentment, you let it live in your mind rent-free. When you release, you reclaim that space. You make room for new thoughts, new energy, and new experiences that align with who you are becoming. It is not always easy. The mind will try to convince you that holding on is safer because it feels familiar. But familiarity is not the same as peace. Familiarity keeps you in the same emotional patterns, repeating the same reactions, reliving the same pain. Breaking free requires courage, but that courage is rewarded with a lightness you may not have felt in years. You will begin to notice the tension in your body ease, your breathing deepen, your thoughts slow down. Letting go is an act of trust. Trust that you will be okay without the thing you thought you needed. Trust that life still holds possibilities that can surprise you. Trust that your worth is not tied to what has been taken from you. This trust is built one decision at a time. Each time you choose not to dwell on a memory that hurts you, you are training your mind to value peace over pain. Each time you release the urge to control someone else's choices, you are protecting your own energy. Over time, this practice transforms you. The same triggers that once consumed you will lose their power. You will respond with clarity where you once reacted with anger or fear. And most importantly, you will learn that peace does not require everything to go your way. It requires you to let go of what is pulling you away from the present moment. When you master the art of releasing, you make space for life to bring you something better than the weight you are carrying. You create room for a calm that is not temporary, but lasting. A calm that lives within you, untouched by the storms around you. Peace grows deeper when you learn to create space between what happens to you and how you respond. Most people live in constant reaction, letting every challenge, every comment, every unexpected turn decide the state of their mind. This leaves them feeling powerless, as if they are being pulled through life rather than guiding themselves through it. But there is a small, powerful pause that can change everything. A moment where you stop, breathe, and choose your next step with intention rather than emotion. In that pause, you take back control. When you give yourself this space, you stop feeding the chaos. You begin to see situations for what they are, not for what your fears or frustrations make them out to be. This is where inner strength is built, not in avoiding difficulty, but in facing it without letting it control your energy. The more you practice it, the more you realize that most problems are not as urgent as your first reaction makes them seem. That extra breath, that quiet moment, is often the difference between peace and regret. The mind will resist at first. It will push you to respond instantly, to protect your pride, to defend your position, to prove you are right. But the truth is, you do not have to fight every battle. You do not have to attend every argument you are invited to. Real strength is not in constant defense. It is in selective engagement. When you step back and choose not to pour your energy into what does not serve you, you preserve your power for what truly matters. In this space, you also begin to hear yourself more clearly. The noise of the world fades, and your inner voice becomes easier to recognize. You will start to notice how often that voice has been drowned out by external demands and distractions. And once you reconnect with it, you find it is wiser, calmer, and more grounded than you imagined. It will guide you toward responses that align with your values rather than your impulses. Creating this pause is a practice of presence. You anchor yourself in the moment instead of being dragged into the past or pushed into the future. You feel the weight of your body, the rhythm of your breath, the stillness that exists beneath the surface of every storm. From here, you act, not out of fear or anger, but out of clarity. And with each moment you choose presence over reaction, you build a life that feels less like a series of emergencies and more like a journey you are actively shaping. You stop being tossed around by the winds of circumstance and start steering your own ship. In that shift, peace is no longer something you chase. It becomes something you carry, something no external force can take away. Peace deepens when you understand that not every thought in your mind deserves your belief. The human brain is wired to protect you, but it often does so by magnifying fear, doubt, and imagined dangers. Left unchecked, these thoughts can feel like reality, even though they are only passing mental events. Learning to observe them without letting them define you is one of the most powerful skills you can ever develop. You begin to realize that your mind can create storms that never actually exist outside of your head. When you step back from your thoughts and see them for what they are, temporary, transient, and often inaccurate, you create a doorway to freedom. You no longer feel trapped by every anxious prediction or self-critical voice. Instead, you become the one who watches, the one who decides which thoughts are worth your energy and which are not. This shift changes everything because it breaks the cycle of living as a prisoner of your own mind. You start to recognize that you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that can choose which ones to follow. The practice of letting unhelpful thoughts pass without clinging to them builds mental clarity. It also strengthens your emotional stability. You stop being pulled into every mental story about what might go wrong, and you begin to focus on what is within your control right now. This reduces the constant tension that wears down your body and spirit. It opens space for peace to enter, because your mind is no longer overcrowded with noise that doesn't serve you. And as you quiet the unnecessary noise, you create more room for empowering thoughts to grow. You start noticing moments of gratitude, moments of possibility, moments where life feels less heavy. These moments were always there, but before, they were buried under layers of mental clutter. Now, with more awareness, you can let them guide your mood and shape your choices. You become intentional with your focus, and that intention becomes a force for peace. This is not about ignoring reality or pretending everything is fine. It is about seeing reality clearly, without distorting it through the lens of fear or negativity. It is about trusting yourself enough to know that you can face whatever comes without being consumed by it. And when you operate from that trust, the weight you carry begins to lift. You no longer brace for impact at every turn. You move forward with calm strength, knowing that you can handle what arises. With each thought you choose to release, you free yourself from an invisible chain. You stop letting your mind run ahead into storms that never arrive. And as the storms fade, you stand in a quieter, clearer space. A space where peace isn't something you try to force, but something that grows naturally, because you've stopped feeding the chaos within.